So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. And we'll get back here at BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Tuesday, January 1st. Hope everyone's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Tuesday, January 5th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. We're now 5 days into the new year, which is good. That's a good thing. NFL's rolling, college football rolling, NFL rolling, NBA rolling. A lot of good sports on right now. It's been very enjoyable. Obviously, it's crazy to think that we are, rounding the corner to almost a year when sports got shut down. So it's great to have them back. Great to see sports in full swing. Nets and Kentucky play tonight. I'll be watching both of them. Should be exciting. Hoping Kentucky starts off 2-0 in SEC play. We got a very favorable matchup against Vanderbilt. Like some of our matchups. Hoping we start Deontay Allen. And then the Nets play the Jazz. KD is out. Kevin Durant will be out. He's going to miss the next 4 games due to COVID protocols. He came in close contact with someone who had it. So the NBA's rules is you have to be out for 7 days, which 7 days leads him to 4 games. So in the next 7 days, the Nets have 4 games. So he'll be back by a week from Wednesday. He'll be back, which is the Knicks game. So that's when he'll be back, because that will be the 5th game. So he'll be back for the Knicks game. We'll see what all happens by then, but I'm hoping the Nets can win tonight, because we need to bounce back. We're 3-4 right now. For this team, with all this hype up at the beginning of the year, for us to be struggling like this right out of the gate, it's not good. It's obviously not the start we envisioned. It's not the start we expected, especially after having 2 nationally televised games, beating 2 probably top 5 teams. The Warriors probably aren't a top 5 team, but you could make the argument that the Celtics are one of the better teams in the league. Warriors are getting there. They obviously had the great run for the 4 or 5 years, and now they're kind of in a little bit of a rebuild stage. But even them, they're probably going to make the playoffs still. So you could make the argument we beat 2 playoff teams, and then we lose to a non-playoff team, then we lose again. Then we win, and now we lose again. It's just, we got to, and our defense has got to improve. I'll get into most of this stuff later on in the podcast, but our defense has got to improve. That's really the thing. Is we got to improve on our defense, and we got to improve on our rebounding. Our rebounding has been terrible these past, I would say, you could say the past 5 games, maybe. Really, entirely the past 5 games haven't been good. The first 2 were amazing. The past 5 really haven't been good. And you could say, the win against the Hawks was good. Yeah, it was a good win, but our defense let up 141 points. That's not good. So, but now we have a game today against 2 superstars, and Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. So it's not going to be easy, but the Nets got to find a way to figure this out, because if our schedule isn't easy coming up. We got the Jazz today, then we have the 76ers, then we have the Grizzlies, who have already beat us. Grizzlies, when healthy, could be a scary team. So, and we got to start winning games, because I do not want to be sitting here in about a week or 2 from now, sitting here at maybe 4-11. I do not want to be that. I do not want to have that. I want to be sitting here with a winning record, or at least somewhere near that. But the way we're playing now, the way we're rebounding, the way we're defending, it's not looking like we're a team that's going to, we're not living up to expectations, to say the very, very least. I don't know what happened to the first 2 games. But anyway, we'll get into that. For later on in the podcast. But these are the topics today. We got the Jets coaching rumors. The Jets have put into interview about 5 or 6 coaches now. And I did some stats today, crunched some of the numbers, looked at some of the stats, and kind of give you an overview of how good these coaches can be for us and how they can really help us out. There's a lot of good coaching candidates out there. There's a lot of guys out there that the Jets can really benefit from hiring. And to be honest, when you look at some of the coaching candidates that the Jets have in mind, some of these guys are really some solid guys. So obviously, I'm hoping that we make the right decision and we I'm hoping that we make the right decision and we, just make the right decision. That's all I'm hoping for. That's all I'm asking for. I do not want the Jets to hire Gaze, no. No, my bad. I do not want the Jets to hire someone like a Gaze where he's going to mess everything up again. I want the Jets to hire the right guy. I mean, to be honest, whoever we hire, it's going to be better than Gaze. Because Gaze, I think, is the worst coach ever to step in this franchise. So I would imagine that the next coach would be better. Even if he's bad, he would at least be better than him. So, we'll get into the Jets coaching rumors. And in the NFL, these coaches also linked to some other teams. And one specific coach is linked to almost all 6 of the teams that are asking for coaches. I'll tell you why and who it is in just a little bit. That's the first topic up. Then we got Yasiel Puig and the Yankees. So, Yasiel Puig has been out of the MLB for about a year now. He did not play last season. Just was not on a team, couldn't find a team. I'm a big believer, and I still believe that Yasiel Puig's got it in him to do excellent things. I'm still very perplexed that he's not on a team at the moment. And the Yankees are drawing interest. Yankees, Orioles, Marlins, and some other teams are drawing interest for Yasiel Puig. So what that means is the Yankees are, maybe starting to come around the corner and finally start to look like a competent offseason baseball team, baseball front office. They're starting to maybe make some moves, starting to realize, it's not, not everyone's going to wait for the New York Yankees. Teams are going to go out there and get guys. So I definitely like this that the Yankees are showing interest. I would definitely love to have Puig on this team. It adds depth, and I'll tell you why. So Puig, some news on him. Then to finish it all off, college basketball, football, NBA, Nets, Knicks, and Kentucky. We got a doubleheader tonight, Nets and Kentucky. I'll be watching both of them as well, so it's going to be exciting. And I'm obviously I'm excited. Hoping that Kentucky starts off 2-0 in SEC play, and hoping the Nets can bounce back from a little bit of the skid they're on right now, not playing their best basketball. And I think obviously it's a big loss without KD. But I think obviously the Nets are 1-4 since they started off 2-0. So obviously to stop this little bit of a losing streak would be good. Without KD, it's going to make it a whole lot harder. But I'm hoping that we could show. I'm hoping that we could come out. Some of the bench guys can come through. I would like to see more of Bruce Brown. I would like to see more of Jeff Green. I would like to see more of Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot. So we're going to see a lot of different guys in there tonight. It might not be the same Nets rotation that you're used to, but that's because KD's out. So yeah, we'll get into all that. But with all that being said, this is the BSN Network podcast, and let's get right into it. So the New York Jets, obviously yesterday, or not yesterday, Sunday. Yesterday was, kind of the final day for interviews and stuff like that. So the New York Jets on Sunday obviously fired head coach Adam Gase. I touched upon it a little bit yesterday. Obviously, I wanted to get to the rest of the NFL games. It was not a big surprise. We all knew it was coming. I expected it coming when to be honest, expected it to come after last year because we just stunk. And he didn't. He came back another year. Obviously, was the mistake to bring him back. Went 2-14. The whole thing. We don't really have to get fully into it. But the Jets did obviously fire Adam Gase. I'm very happy about it, obviously. But I was expecting it. It wasn't like something that I would have been like. It wasn't like something that I was not expecting, and they fired him, and I wanted him to get fired. I mean, we all knew he was going to get fired. It was to really on Sunday when I was sitting there waiting for the notification to come in. When I was watching, I think it was the Nets game. I was watching. Yeah, it was the Nets game. When I was sitting there, I was kind of just waiting. We all knew that he was going to get fired. It was just a matter of whether what was it going to happen Sunday or was it going to happen Monday. It was one or the other. It was going to happen one of those days. So obviously it happened. He is fired. Gase, and he is on his way to Alabama, possibly another offensive coordinator job. I don't think he's going to get a head coach job anywhere else, but that's up to whatever team wants him. So obviously we got rid of Gase, and now the New York Jets have started to look for new head coaches. There's about 6 of them that are looking at. I really wanted to touch upon a couple of them. A couple of them, I'll tell you about, but there's that core 3 or 4 that I would love to see coaching the New York Jets this upcoming 2021 season. I would love to see that. I would love to see, there's about 3 to 4 core guys. And I did the numbers. I looked at the numbers, look what they've done to their teams. And obviously all these guys are coordinators. None of them are former head. we've heard some other head coaches, but all these are people that the Jets have put into interview. One of the people that I crunched the numbers on is a guy that the Jets are interested in. Sources say that the Jets are interested in him, but they haven't put in for an interview on him. So I don't know if that means that they want to, I don't know if that means they're going to, because they have like 6 coaches they're going to interview first. I don't know if that means they're going to go through those 6 then and pick out another 6. Like I said, there could very well be 20, 25 coaches that they interview, and then they start to, it's almost like a bracket in a way. You're like, okay, this is your first round. All right, this guy, okay, let's move him closer. All right, now you're in your Elite 8. Okay, Final 4. Okay, now you're in your final. Now you got your final 2 coaches. It's, it's not like where you fill out a bracket. So, but you get what I'm saying. It's almost like a bracket. They kind of do elimination, right? You got elimination. You're like, okay, this coach is a good fit. We'll put him here. This coach, not so much. Let's put him over here. This coach, we interviewed him. We're not really, it's kind of just out. This is kind of just a last second option. We'll put him over here. So that's kind of what it is. So right now, it's all developing. It's all kind of just, okay, we put in to interview this guy. So the Jets, personally, have put into interview, I think about like 6 coaches so far. Now, the funny thing is all of those coaches are currently coaching playoff teams. So they've put in for. I'll go through here. So they put into interview Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Chiefs are obviously in the playoffs. They put Bills offensive coordinator Brian Dable. Bills are obviously in the playoffs. Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. Titans are obviously in the playoffs. Rams defensive coordinator Brandon Staley. Rams are in the playoffs. Giants defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. So Giants are not in the playoffs. And then you have the Seahawks, Brian Schottenheimer. The Jets are interested in him, but they're in the playoffs as well. So if the Jets would interview. And then they're also interested in the Colts defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, who is also in the playoffs. So what this means is that it's going to be a little bit of a slow process because the Jets are looking at mainly playoff coaches or playoff coordinators. They're not going to be, if anything, if they have to put in the interview because the teams have to allow it. You can't just be like, oh, interview. The teams have to allow it. The teams will allow it. I mean, the teams are going to allow it. It's just you can't interview before their playoff game. So if anything, when the Jets are probably going to interview, if anything, it's going to be probably on like a Sunday or a Monday, usually the day after the playoff game. That's probably the only time that they're going to be interviewed. So it's not. I mean, Eric Bieniemy might be able to be interviewed earlier because they have a bye week this week, so they don't play. But I know, for example, the Colts defensive coordinator, they had another team is going to put in to interview him. They're interviewing him on Sunday because the Colts play on Saturday. You cannot interview because you got to realize too, these guys are also in the playoffs. They got a job to focus on too. That's why actually some names might not allow you to interview their coaches because they want to be focused on the game. If they're interviewing and they're focused on their interview and not focused on the game, well, there goes your season, right? That's why you got to watch out sometimes. That's why sometimes these teams, that's why you have to request it. You can't just say, oh, interview. Let's interview right now. You have to request it because these teams have to be okay with it. You can't, because these guys also, you got to realize, these guys, this is their job right now. Their goal is to win a Super Bowl. So, that's what their focus is on. Obviously, if they miss out on, for example, the Colts defensive coordinator, if they lose first round, then you can interview them all you want because their season's over. It's done. You can forget about it. So you just have to watch out for that. So it's going to be a little bit of a slow process, but I'm expecting that. I'm actually kind of hoping that. Now, would I rather hear the coach sooner rather than later? Yeah, I do not want to wait till, slightly before the draft to hear it. I don't want to wait till early April. I would rather probably hear it, mid-February. I mean, I don't think anything's going to come out in January. The Jets hired their coach at Gaze in January 9th. Now, the Jets are going to have to make sure this is a easy process, right? Because, they cannot just rush and go ahead and just take a head coach. They got to make sure, evaluate each head coach, look at what you want, and move on from there. That's what the Jets have to do. And we did not do that last time. We rushed through it. Couple days after literally like a week or two after the season, here we go, hire our head coach. Like, you cannot do that. You have to thoroughly evaluate each coach. You have to take your time. I would rather wait and hear it and be at the right move than just have it be rushed and hear it sooner and then have it be the wrong move. I would rather wait it out, say, even if it means way after the Super Bowl, wait it out, thoroughly look into each coach. What does this guy want to do with our team? one of the biggest questions I'm sure they're going to be asking in the interview is, what are you going to want to do with Darnold? Are you going to be interested in keeping Darnold, or do you want to work with a new quarterback, probably more than likely Fields or Wilson at the number 2 pick? So what do you want to do? You have to look through each coach. If a coach says, I would like to work with Darnold, I would like to bring him into my system, I would like to do that stuff, then you go ahead and say, okay, all right, now let's look at some of your other traits, right? You got to look at that. That's another thing, too. Darnold's future is going to depend on what the head coach wants to do. That's what it's going to depend on. Because I'll tell you what, Joe Douglas, he's going to hire the coach. Obviously, he's going to hire the coach with the best possibility of leading this team to a Super Bowl. Obviously. But not Super Bowl. I shouldn't say that, because the Jets in Super Bowl are outrageous. You're going to hire the coach who have the best shot of making his team win games. That's what they're going to do. So, what that means is Christopher Johnson, or Christopher Johnson has now handed the job over to Douglas. So this is Douglas's coaching, and I love to see that happen yesterday. Christopher Johnson said that Douglas will be leading the coaching search, and he will ultimately make the final decision on who the next head coach of the New York Jets will be. That's what he said. So Joe Douglas is going to be leading the search. So Joe Douglas has to take his time. He has to evaluate each coach. Evaluate each coach like you're drafting him, almost, right? These guys spend hours, weeks, months scouting college prospects to draft them. You have to do that for coaches. Almost scout them. Look at what they've done, right? I'm gonna read you some stats here. Look at what they've done to other teams' offenses or defenses, whatever side of the ball they are on. If you go the Giants route and hire a special teams coach, look at what they've done on the special teams side of the ball, right? Look at what these guys have done, right? Don't just go out there and be like, oh, this guy's an offensive-minded coach, let's hire him, he's going to work well with Darnold. Do not do that. Take your time, thoroughly look through each coach, and make the move. That's what you got to do if you're Joe Douglas. And I'm happy that Joe Douglas is going to be leading the coaching search, because he's the right guy to be doing it. I do not want Christopher Johnson to be anywhere near the coaching search. I mean, this also has to depend on the money-wise, too. Money aspect, too. I mean, each coach is going to want a different amount of money. So if Bieniemy wants too much money and the Jets feel that it's not worth it, then they won't hire him. So that's all Douglas's decision, too. And like I said, I've said this so many times with Douglas. I like Douglas's drafting. I thought he had an excellent draft class. I didn't like a couple of his picks. Zuniga hasn't done much and Davis hasn't done much. But I love the Mims pick. I love the Becton pick. Bryce Hall really came on, especially in the past 3 to 4 games. Really came on, finished the season on a high note. The Brandon Mann pick, I mean, he's a punter, so I'm not gonna go brag about a punter. But Brandon Mann, you can make the argument, is probably one of the best punters in the league now. I mean, the guy had an excellent year. I mean, I'm not gonna go sit here and brag about a punter, but I like it. He's good, obviously. I mean, was punter our biggest need at that pick? No, I would have probably rather maybe a kicker, because our kicking's been terrible, and I do care about that because kicking is a big part of the game. A lot of times these games come down to kicks, and if you can't make that kick, that's a problem. So Douglas is going to be leading his coaching search, but the Jets got to make the right decision, because like I said, this move that we made with Gaze was a terrible move. This move, I said this yesterday, this move set our franchise back 2 years, without a doubt. Set our franchise back 2 years, without a doubt. Okay, so I'm going to read you now the Jets offensive rankings, Jets defensive rankings, and I'll compare them to some of these other coaches, candidates, guys that we're going to interview's rankings. Remember, these are requested interviews. It's not confirmed we're going to interview them, but a lot of times teams don't deny it. Like the one, the Colts. I forget who requested an interview for their defensive coordinator, Matt Eberfloss. But he's going to be interviewed on Sunday. So, and Dable too. I think they're going to interview Dable. As a matter of fact, if you look at the Vegas odds, and I look at the odds and stuff, but I'm not huge into the odds, because a lot of times the odds is just speculation. I would rather look at the facts. The odds are obviously, sure, the odds are good and all, but the odds say that the Jets are going to land Dable. Out of all the head coaching candidates out there, the odds say that the Jets will get Dable, which I would love. I want Bieniemy Bieniemy or Dable are my main guys. I don't know what order because I've heard positives from both. I've heard how good. I've seen how good Bieniemy is. We saw him in the Super Bowl. What he's done with Mahomes. But another thing too is like with Darnold is like look what Dable did to Allen. Like just imagine if Dable could do that with Darnold. Like Allen and Darnold were on the same path. They both struggled their first 2 years. The year 3 leap obviously was Allen. Darnold didn't make that year 3 leap. So in a way, you look at it like, okay, maybe if you're looking at a guy, Dable, like look what he's turned Allen into. He's turned into an MVP quarterback or a possible MVP quarterback. If you keep I feel like if we get Dable, we would probably keep Darnold because Dable would want to try and fix him, which I think is very possible because look what he's done to Allen. There was a very good possibility the Bills could have moved on from Allen if he had another bad year this year. There's very well possibility. The Bills could have been in the Jets situation, but I think Dable really saved them there. So I feel like if the Jets get Dable, more than likely I feel like he would want to stick with Darnold and just go ahead and say, I want to fix this guy. But if they get another coach, maybe like a Bieniemy, he might want to bring him Mahomes and develop him from day one. That might be what he wants to do. But like I said, it's all up to the coach. The decision around Darnold is up to the coach. If the coach wants to come in here and try to work with Darnold, bring him into his own system, then do that. I'll tell you what. I bet you the Jets know what their draft pick is going to be when they hire their coach. Because it's going to be their coach that's going to make the decision. You're going to ask him in that interview, do you want us to draft a quarterback or do you want to? And I bet you he won't. I bet you he'll make the decision. I want to work with Fields or I want to work with Wilson. I bet you. It's going to depend on that. So that's really going to be the deciding factor there. But yeah, anyway, so let's get into some of the rankings here. Looked at these earlier today. So let's look at some of the rankings here. Let me just create some space here. So here we go. So some of the rankings. So I'm going to get into the Jets offensive rankings, and I'll get into the defensive rankings as well. Now, the Jets defense is not nearly as bad as the offense. The defense did have a down year, but you also got to realize they went through 2 coordinators. So, for a defense to stick together like that, it's not the greatest thing in the world. But here we go. Jets offensive rankings. So total, they were 32nd, which is last in the league. We all know how bad they are. Run, they were 23rd. Pass, they were 31. And scoring, they were 32nd. So they were last in scoring. They were 32nd in total offense. They were 23rd in run. And they were 31st in pass. So they didn't even crack the top 20 in any statistical in the main statistical categories. You could take a whole list. You could look at yards per play, yards per passing attempt, yards per rush, yards out of play action. You could look at a ton. That's next-gen stats there. You could look at a ton of different analytics and numbers. These are the simple stuff. If you go more in depth, yards per play, the Jets are probably about a 6 to 6.1. They're not very good. Darnold throughout his career has been a mid-6 to a 7 yards per play. And yards per game is probably around a 200 or so probably. Darnold probably throwing like 150 yards and about the running back getting 50 to 70. So about probably 220. Compared to the Chiefs, they could have, Mahomes could throw for 300 yards himself, and their running back could have 100 yards. So they're like 400 yards. So the Jets' offensive rankings are total 32nd, run 23rd, pass 31st, and scoring 32nd. So I'm going to get into the defensive rankings a little bit, but that's when we get to the defensive coordinator. So let's look at what Eric Bieniemy's done with the Kansas City Chiefs and his offensive rankings. So total, the Chiefs are number 1 in total offense. They are 16th in run, and they are 1st in passing offense. Now, you could sit here and say, oh, it's all Mahomes, it's all Andy Reid, it's all Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You could sit here and say that. But Andy Reid has said this so many times about Eric Bieniemy, that he is the right coach for a team to hire. Andy Reid has said that so many times. Andy Reid said it a day ago. He said that he was surprised Bieniemy didn't get a job last year. He's expecting him to get a job somewhere. So it's a lot of it's Mahomes, but Bieniemy has also helped out Mahomes a ton, and Mahomes will say that. Bieniemy and Mahomes have been great together. And that's why I feel like if you get Bieniemy, you draft a new quarterback, to work with him, I think would be great. So Eric Bieniemy, total and offense is first. They have the best offense in the league, and I think still they have the best quarterback in the league. Run offense is 16th, passes first. I'm pretty sure if I'm reading correctly, scoring was third, but that could go either way if you're looking at the point side of things or just regular old scoring. The point side of things, they've scored like the third most points if you're looking at it. So the Chiefs are third. That's the Chiefs. So that's the Chiefs, and they're the best offense in the league. And I'm not saying Bieniemy is going to turn the Jets into the best offense in the league, but he could very well create this team into maybe another top 15, top 10 offense. That's all I'm saying. The Jets need that. Their offense has been terrible for years now. We haven't had an offensive guru come in here and change his offense. Even when Rex Ryan was here, it was not the offense. It was not Mark Sanchez. It was the defense that helped us get to those AFC Championship games. Bills offensive rankings, led by Brian Dable. Total, they're second in the NFL, only behind the Kansas City Chiefs. If the Kansas City Chiefs were not a thing, the Bills would be number one. If the Kansas City Chiefs were not a thing, a lot of teams would be up there for the number one spot. The Chiefs just seem like that's their spot. The Chiefs are just like the placeholder. They're there every year. Like, they're there. Like, if they're not number one, they're going to be somewhere in the top 5. Like, they're always there. So the Bills offense ranking, Brian Dable. Total, second, only behind the Chiefs. Run is 20th. You also got to realize they're working with a young running back core. They a lot of times split carries, and when you have a guy like Josh Allen that could throw the ball deep and receivers like Stephon Diggs, I could see why you utilize the pass game a whole lot more than the run game. So run is 20th. Passing is third. So once again, Josh Allen right behind, Josh Allen in this Bills offense, right behind Mahomes in that Chiefs offense. And scoring, points-wise, if you look at it, you can look at it either way. They're like a second. They're somewhere around in that vicinity. So they're second in total offense. And like I said, I'm not saying that the Jets are going to have this same success because the Bills roster is a whole lot better than the Jets, but it could definitely make this offense much better if you bring in the right guy. So Brian Dable has led that Bills offense to second in total offense, 20th in run offense. Passing has been third, and scoring points-wise is around the second place mark. So that's the Bills' offensive rankings. So Rams, I'll get to them in a second. They're defensive. Okay, so to finish it off, we got the offensive rankings for the Seahawks and the Titans. So we'll go with the Titans first because this is the other guy they're interviewing. So Arthur Smith has actually been a very hot name. I think all 6 of the teams with head coaching vacancies have interviewed him. Arthur Smith has done a fabulous job with the Titans, has done a fabulous job with Tannehill, has done a fabulous job with Derrick Henry. So the Titans offensive rankings, Arthur Smith is the lead guy over there on the offensive side of the ball. So total, they are third, once again, only behind the Bills and the Chiefs. If they would be probably, once again, like you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like these things change. The Chiefs are usually always number one. So to squeak into that top 3 like that, to be known as one of those best offenses is big. For the Titans. Run, they are second. Not surprising there. Derrick Henry, probably the best running back in the league. No surprise there. The guy is just a freak of nature. The guy is insane. You've seen his stiff arms before. He's just an insane guy. Strong. Just insane. He's just an insane player. So, total, they're third. And that's another thing, too. This is what I like. They like to use the run game. The Jets have not had a run game in a very long time. We got Bell. We thought we could have had it. No. If we bring in the right, obviously Arthur Smith knows how to use the run game, and the Jets have not had a head coach that knows how to do that. Gaze didn't know how to do that. Bowles obviously was a defensive-minded coach. His coordinator didn't know how to do that. Jeremy Bates, I think it was. So the Jets have not had a consistent run game. So if we were to draft a running back, he would be coming into a great system under Arthur Smith. Run is second. Pass is 23rd. I think I'm reading this correctly, but pass 23rd. Like I said, Tannehill is a very good quarterback, but they run the ball 65-70% of the time. So, they run the ball a ton. I mean, you see Derrick Henry getting 25. Even, I think, at one game he's gotten like 30 carries before. They run the ball a ton. That's just how it is. And the Jets, like I said, they have not had a hot run game. And I feel like Arthur Smith, in a way, could be a coach that would bring in a new quarterback, a Fields or a Wilson, someone who's mobile, because he could use their legs into his run scheme offense. I feel like that could be something that could work there. And then scoring, once again, this is around that. This is like third. The Chiefs are also around third, but they're around the third place mark in scoring. So that's the offensive rankings. So these are the one more offensive ranking. This is Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer is the Seahawks offensive coordinator. Done an excellent job with Wilson. Done an excellent job over there with that offense. The Jets have not requested to interview him, but he was rumored to be, definitely a hot topic in the coaching market. So total they are 17th in offense, which isn't amazing, but still very good. I'm pretty sure they're around the 17th mark. Run their 12th, and then past their 16th. So they're around there, right? Russell Wilson has had a good year, and stuff like that. So Schottenheimer, I don't know so much if I would love this hire, just because some of the rankings aren't nearly as good as the Titans or a Chiefs or a Bills, although those are some three of the best offenses in the league. But definitely still, it was much better than the Jets. So if you look at it, this is the thing. Really, if you look at it, the Jets are improving if they hire one of these guys. They're improving because their offense was last in the league. So you're going to improve a little bit, at least. So now let's get into the Jets' defensive rankings. Now, I got to give a little bit more, I got to be a little bit more light on the Jets' defensive rankings. They did go through two coordinators this year. Greg Williams obviously got fired after the Raiders game. Frank Bush came in. He did a pretty good job. So to sit here and say that, you can blame everything on this Jets defense when you go through two coordinators in a matter of 1 year is tough. I'm sure Frank Bush picked up the same system, but for a guy like Frank Bush that might be under a new system, for him to be coaching that might be a little different. So the Jets' defensive ranking is much better, but total defense, they're 24th. Run, they are 12th. They've always had a solid run defense. Passing, they're 28th, so they're 28th in pass defense. Like I said, a very young secondary. If you build that up, you could, there's a chance that it'll be much better. And scoring points is the 26th. So that's the Jets' defensive rankings. This was both Greg Williams and Frank Bush. That's the Jets' defensive rankings. So like I said, you got to give a little bit more, you got to be a little bit more light on them because they did go through two coordinators. So now let's get into the Giants, or, we'll get to the Rams, actually. So let's go to the Rams' defensive rankings. Brandon Staley, who has done an excellent job over there in Los Angeles. Total defense, they're number one in the league, so they actually overtook the Steelers. A couple great games to finish out the year. They overtook the Steelers. They're number one in the league in defense. Run defense, they're third. And pass defense, they're first. I think if they're looking at defensive-minded coaches, this would be a great hire. And the reason I say this is because the Jets' strengths are their run defense. They finished 12th in that category. Last year, they finished, I think, third. So that's their strength. The Rams' defense strength is their run defense as well. They finished third. So, and then the Jets' weakness is their pass defense, but the Rams' really good strength is their pass defense. So that this coordinator could possibly come in here and completely turn this pass defense around. Draft a cornerback or two, develop these young guys, and all of a sudden we have a good secondary. I feel like if you're looking at the defensive side of the ball, this would be a perfect fit. I think the next coach, too, Patrick Graham out of the Giants, has done a phenomenal job over there, too. But I think if you're looking at the weakness is the pass defense for the Jets, what the strength is for the Rams. That's all works under Brandon Staley's system. And as for the Giants, to cap it all off, Giants defensive rankings, this was under Patrick Graham. He's just been there for one season, so I don't know if this is likely. Also seeing Jets and Giants, moves, to see, one coach bounce from each team is kind of weird, so I don't know if this is likely, but they did put in the interview him. Total defense, they're 12th. Run defense, they're 10th, and pass, they're 17th. They've been good in the run defense, which is the same thing with the Jets, so I feel like Patrick Graham could even build on that. Total, they were 12th. So still in the top 15 range. And then also pass, they're not the greatest, but, like I said, still much better than the Jets. The Jets were almost last in the league in pass defense. They were 28th. So 17th is still an upgrade. So no matter who you're getting, you're going to upgrade there. That's what I said. The Jets are going to upgrade with the next head coach, as long as they make the smart decision. Now, if they go out there and get a terrible coach who failed maybe in college and was just terrible, if you get a good college coach, okay, maybe. Preferably, I would like a coordinator that's had an NFL experience. But it's going to be interesting. I'm really going to be interested to see what all happens with this New York Jets coaching search. I believe that Joe Douglas will make the right decisions. I really liked his draft class, and I'm hoping that he does the same thing with this upcoming year's coaching decision. So the Jets got to make. And as for Matt Eberflus, the Colts defense has had a very What was I gonna say? Sorry, I just had to check something. So obviously I like a lot of these coaches. So, here's the thing with college coaches. If you want to look at the college side of things, like I don't hate the idea of getting college coach, but like a guy like a Matt Campbell who has no NFL experience, that not playing or coaching, he has no NFL experience at all. That could be a little risky. I mean, if you're a college coach but you had NFL experience, whether that was at a coordinator, whether it was a defense or offensive coordinator, I could see that. But for a head coach at Iowa State to come into a big market like the Jets, it would be a decent move, I would think, but not one of my top moves. I want Bieniemy or Dable. That's what I mean. If we can't get them, then I would love Arthur Smith out of Titans. If we can't get him, then I think you got to look at one of the defensive guys. And the Jets owner said that they're not so much looking for a offense or defensive minded coach. They're looking for a coach for a whole team. So that could even mean someone who's not. That could even mean just maybe just like a weird. Not even just almost like what the Giants did. Judge. He can work both sides of the ball in the way. I mean, he's a special teams coach, but special teams is a little bit of both. A little bit of offensive stuff and a little bit of defense. So they could even go maybe as like an assistant route. This is all just guys they're interviewing. Just because they're interviewing, I know Jets fans get their hopes up. Just because someone's interviewing someone does not mean they're going to be the coach. I mean, all 6 teams can interview whoever they want. But yeah, so I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. I just want to see what all happens. I just really want to see what happens. I want to see how it unfolds. That's what I'm looking at. I just want to see how it unfolds. I just want the Yankees to make the right decision because this is a team not the Yankees, sorry, the Jets. This is a team that's, the Yankees is my next topic, so I was getting up the information. I like the Jets. I want this team to just make the right decision. All I want to see is just success from this team. I want to see competitive football. I want to see a competent football team again. That's all I'm asking for. So, yeah. So, those are the coaching rumors for the Jets. And Arthur Smith, actually, he's a hot topic. So, around the other guys. So, anyway. So, that's what I got for the Jets. Coming up next, Yasiel Puig is drawing interest from the Yankees, Red Sox, and other teams. Yankees, I'm going to really hone in and tell you why I would love this move. Coming up next. Okay, so Yasio. Okay, so this is coming out for the Yankees. So obviously the Yankees are pretty silent this offseason. But this is the news that has came out involving Yasiel Puig. So Yasiel Puig rumors: Red Sox, Yankees, Astros, Marlins, Orioles linked to free agent. So this came out yesterday. Once I saw this, I gotta talk about this. I'm gonna give you my opinion. So, like I said, I would love this move. But like I said, I'm not so much saying that it's going to happen. I mean, you saw here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams are linked to him. So 5 teams there for only one of him. So the chance of the Yankees getting him are, I guess, 1 of 5. But either way, it's not like the Yankees are the only team getting interest. But I'm going to hone in on the Yankees. Obviously, New York sports are my favorite team. So the Yankees are drawing interest, or Yasiel Puig is drawing interest from the New York Yankees. So this came out yesterday. Like I said, you don't always want to, I sometimes have done this myself. It could be anything. It could be, it could be NFL, it could be NBA, NHL, it could be even in this case MLB. I sometimes when I hear teams drawing interest, or I hear a coach drawing interest, or for example, like right now the Yankees drawing interest in Yasiel Puig, or if a story comes out, in the next couple of weeks of the Jets are high on this coach, or they're gonna go interview him now. Like I could jump on that and be like, I could get a little too overexcited, but you have to realize it's just interest. They probably haven't even talked contracts yet, so you got to realize they probably haven't even talked contracts yet. So, once they start to talk contract, once you hear the word negotiating, that's when you should feel pretty confident. If you hear, okay, they're negotiating, they've talked about a possible Yasiel Puig, the Yankees move, that's when you can get excited. But for interest, that could just mean straight up that the Yankees are interested in him, or even the Yankees are just looking for a guy like Puig. It could mean a whole lot. So interest can mean a whole lot. It could mean they're looking for another outfielder for depth. Puig could be on their mind. That you could have heard of an insider say, they've been looking at some right fielders. Puig, might be, one of them. It could be really all this. So what I will take from this is if the Yankees do get Yasiel Puig, I would love this move. I think it would be an excellent move. I think it would be one of Cashman's better moves, to be honest. And I still would. I can't stand Cashman. I want him gone still. But I would definitely like the move. Here's why. Okay, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on Yasiel Puig. What I like about him is he enjoys the game. He really does. He enjoys the game. He's funny. He crack a joke or two. He's focused. He's very focused, obviously. I mean, he goes out there and tries to win and tries to do his best he can. But he really likes the game. He really enjoys the game. And I feel like, for a guy for the New York media with all the pressure on, I feel like he would almost I feel like in a way he would loosen the locker room a little bit, meaning like, sometimes the locker room's so tense and, all these players being so tense and so like, all these players being so tense and all they want to do is just, do this and that. Like, I feel like in a way he would bring that little bit of that, energy. He would bring that extra added energy to the locker room. So the off the field stuff would be like the locker room. He brings that energy to the locker room. If you're down, if you're in a rain delay and you're down by 3 or 4 runs, he would bring that energy. He would bring that hope to that locker room. He would bring the hope to the team. And he's done that before with the Dodgers. He's done it when he was in a short time with the Indians. He's done it for a while. He's a good, he's said, coaches have said that, he's a good player. He's a very good player. He's a very talented player. And I'll tell you why he's not on a team in a second. I have no clue why he isn't. But he's a good player. I feel like he would add that extra added energy to a team. If you're down by 2 runs. And, if you're down by 2 runs and a stadium's got no energy, players got no energy, he would be that guy to add that energy. He would be that guy that would step up to the plate in the 7th inning and make a big hit, get the team fired up. He would be that kind of guy. He did it with the Dodgers, and if he were to come to the Yankees, he would do it again with the Yankees. Now, to get onto the skill thing, I love his skill set. The guy's got an absolute cannon. I could definitely see him, whether he plays left, center, or right field, whatever it is. If he plays right, he's probably going to be a backup. If he plays center, there could be competition between him and Stan. Stan could probably play DH, but then you got to look what happens with Sanchez, then Hicks, right? The Yankees have a lot of outfield depth, so it's going to be really interesting to see what they do there. But this guy, again, to his play, he's got an absolute cannon. He's got a cannon. If you can, I don't know if everyone's interested in this. I've seen it play. I've seen it live before. If you can, look up Yasiel Puig. Look up. You might even find on Yasiel Puig's highlights. But if you could, look up Yasiel Puig throwing a guy out from right field or something like that. I bet you I can find a video right now. I'm not going to, but I bet you can find tons of videos on it. It's happened plenty of times. I've seen it live before. I've seen it happen plenty of times. When the guy is healthy and he's on a team, he has an absolute cannon. You can make the argument he's got one of the best cannons in baseball. That's why I'm completely puzzled on why he is not on a team. And you could say, he's not good enough. If he's not good enough, then he's an all-star. He's been to an all-star game. He's a power hitter. And at times, he could look like one of the better right fielders in the league when he uses his arm and uses his glove. I'm not even kidding. The amount of diving catches he has made before, the amount of guys he's thrown out at third base from right field before is just insane and mind-boggling how good this guy can really be. You get this guy in the right situation, on the right team, at the right time, at the right position, he could be dominant. I know that might seem like a lot of things lined up to be perfect, but if you put him in right field for a night, this is why I think he could add excellent depth. It doesn't have to mean if the MLB does in fact play 162 games this season. It doesn't have to mean that he's going to play 150 of them. He could play even 60. If he plays 50 of them, and Judge plays the next 110 or 100, and not 50 might be a lot. If he plays 25, let's just say, if he plays 25 games, or he plays a DH some games, he could be almost in a way the utility guy in a way. He could play DH, he could play right field. I'm sure he could probably play center possibly. He could almost be a little bit of your utility outfielder. Hey, Judge needs a rest. Let's put him in. And you could feel confident putting him in. You could feel confident about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could feel confident that, even though Judge is out, one of the better players in all the MLB, you could feel confident about putting in Puig. That's a big thing, is depth here. Depth. That's what the Yankees need here. They have a lot of depth at the position to begin with. Not just right field, the outfield positions to begin with. Left, center, and right. They have a lot of depth, but I feel like Puig, in a way, could be almost that utility guy. Even if he's not always playing right field. Okay, slip him in at center, slip him in at left. Play him anywhere. Put him at DH for the night. We like this favorable matchup against the pitcher. This guy's a lefty. He throws a lot of low inside at 80s, mid-80s. Puig used that short deck a little late on it. Used that short deck in right field. Something like that. And he's a power hitter too. And for a guy that hits Oppo, he could hit Oppo. I've seen it before. With that right field porch being that short porch, and the left field short too. I mean, the left field's longer than right field, but the Yankee Stadium isn't the biggest field ever. It doesn't have the biggest dimensions. I mean, it's not the biggest field ever. You got the short porch in right field, which is why Judge is so dominant there, because he uses it. He hits a ton of home runs opposite field. So obviously to see that would just be great. And I don't know why he hasn't got his chance. I was talking to someone about this yesterday. It still boggles my mind how in the world he is not on a team right now. This guy's got so much talent, and he's already shown us. It's not like he's shown us flashes. He's shown us consistent seasons of being a good player. Now, is he the best player in the MLB? No. He's not on Mike Trout's level or whoever you want to say level. At times, does he show flashes of being one of the better ones? Yes. But at times, he's always good. He's always going to be a solid player. And when I'm talking about he's shown flashes of greatness, yeah, everyone shows flashes at times. But it's not like throughout his career he's only shown flashes here and there. He's had some very consistently good seasons. And to see him not on a team right now, this is a present for the Yankees, I feel like. This is a gift to them. You could possibly be getting what I think could be a solid starting right fielder, and you could put him behind another solid right fielder in Judge. Them two together, their two bats in the lineup could really help bolster this Yankees team. And you could say, oh, well, Puig's not in the league. Well, when he was in 2019 with the Indians, he still hit high 200s. He's a 277 hitter for his career. For his career. I think it was either his career or last season, but he's a high 270 hitter, which is very good. I mean, if that's for your career, that's amazing. He hit 24 home runs with two teams in 2019. Just imagine if you keep him, if those teams are consistent. That is a solid move. The Indians letting him go was not a great decision. Yasiel Puig could be a excellent player for the New York Yankees. And, I've always said this. I like players who can hit line drives, and that would Puig be more of a leaning towards the power hitting side? Yes. He probably would be more leaning towards the power hitting side, but he could still also get that single double. Would he be more power? Yeah. He wouldn't be like a LeMahieu. He would be more power. He'd probably be more like a Judge, where he hits most of the times it's home runs, but there's always that single, double. He's not like a Stanton where it's home run or strikeout, or a Sanchez. It's not as bad as a Sanchez. It's probably like a Judge, maybe a little bit more power than Judge. Judge's got one of the most powerful swings, meaning like home run wise. Like he might be more home run or bust than Judge. But I still love this. I would still love to get Puig, and if we don't, whatever team gets him, you're getting a solid player. And he's only 30 years old, and that's when I was talking to someone yesterday about it. When I heard about the news breaking, and was talking to someone yesterday about it. You look at his age and you wonder, okay, maybe this guy's not on a team because of his age. He's only 30 years old. It's not like this guy's 37. He's only 30 years old. This guy could very well play 7 more seasons in the league. That's the thing. Yasiel Puig, man. This would be an excellent decision for the Yankees to get him. So Yasiel Puig rumors, Red Sox, Yankees, Astros, Marlins, Orioles linked to free agent. So obviously I've already said that. Outfielder Yasiel Puig did not play during his shortened 2020 season, but that reportedly has not stopped interest in his availability as a free agent this offseason. On Monday, Mark Feinstein of MLB.com reported that Boston Red Sox, New York Yankees, Houston Astros, Miami Marlins, and Baltimore Orioles appear to have varying levels of interest in Puig. Ryan Morick of SNY noted Puig nearly played in 2020 and was going to join the Atlanta Braves heading into summer camp. Yeah, he was going to join the Braves, but until a positive COVID-19 test ended those developments. He was going to play with the Braves, but the COVID-19 test and just some of the stuff like that just kind of, took the air out of that balloon. Puig played for the Los Angeles Dodgers from 2013 through 2018 and was a reliable source of power in their lineup. He was an all-star in his second season with a 296, 382, 480 slash line, 16 home runs, 69 RBIs, and 11 stolen bases, and hit double-digit long balls in each of his six seasons with the team. Now, I want you to listen to this line right here. I'm not saying he's a superstar, but what I did say is he's a consistent player. Did I not say that earlier? I said this is a guy that's going to be consistently good. He's not going to be he'll so flash of being the best player, or being one of the best players. But he's consistently a solid player. From 2013 through 2014, he was a reliable source of power in the lineup. He is. Right? That's the thing. That's why he doesn't need to be your everyday guy. If you put him in a lineup 2 times every week, home run or 2 each of those games, that's perfect. That's all you can ask for. And you're not paying this guy $400 million a year. You're not going to pay this guy. You're not going to give him a Garrett Cole contract. You'll give him maybe a 1 or 2 year smaller deal, and he'll get the job done. He played for the Cincinnati Reds in Cleveland during the 2019 campaign and slashed .267, .327, .458 with 24 home runs, 84 RBIs, and 19 stolen bases. That was a great sign. And like I said, he's a good power hitter too. He can hit the ball over the fence. I mean, we've seen it before. It marked the 3rd straight year he hit at least 23 home runs while providing speed on the base paths. Not just on the base paths, he provides speed in the outfield and a strong arm in the outfield. He is also just 30 years old and would theoretically still be in his prime for the 2021 campaign. Although there are fair questions about whether his numbers could carry over after sitting out the 2020 season. Of the teams reportedly interested in Puig, the Red Sox, Orioles, Astros, and Marlins finished a middling 12th, 15th, 19th, and 25th, respectively, in home runs last year. He can provide an additional power bat as they all look for more production from their lineups. As for the Yankees, who finished 5th in home runs, he could provide injury concerns for Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Both sluggers missed time over the past 2 seasons with various elements. Like I said, that's another thing too. Judge and Stan have been injured a lot. And even if they're not injured, if they're just having a day off, Puig could be that next guy. I'm telling you, Cashman. And I get it, the season, I'm telling you, I get it, obviously the season, obviously, the season, obviously with him sitting out and all that, but, I mean, you could even say he played a little bit of the 2019 season and still had a great season. So, I think this would be amazing for Puig. And I think this would be amazing for the Yankees. And I'm telling you, Cashman. I don't like Cashman at all. I cannot stand him. I want him fired. But, I would not like him anymore if he made this move. I mean, I still would want him fired even if he makes this move. But telling you, Cashman, you've got to jump on this guy. You have to. This would be an excellent move for the New York Yankees. So, now we move on to college basketball, the rest of the stuff there. And like I said, I just cannot... and fantasy basketball. That's another thing, too. I keep on forgetting about fantasy basketball. I'm just to the point where, I think you got to jump on him. I mean, he's gonna add. I mean, they've said it how many times was power mentioned in that article, and you look at some of the numbers. Slash line's insane. I mean, if you look at the numbers, you look at some of the statistical stuff. He's really a solid player. He's consistent. He's not one game goes insane, next game is meh. He's consistent. So now I move on to college basketball. So today we got, let's move in some of the top 25 games. We got Texas Tech, Kansas State. I give Texas Tech the win. Clemson, North Carolina State, give Clemson the win. Texas, Iowa State, give Texas the win. They're coming off a big win against Kansas. They're 4th ranked team in the nation. Give Texas the win. Missouri, Mississippi State, give Missouri the win. Rutgers, Michigan State, give Rutgers the win. TCU, Kansas, TCU, give Kansas the win. And now for the Kentucky game. Kentucky comes into this game 2-11. Vanderbilt comes 2-6. Vanderbilt comes in 4-3. Kentucky's obviously 2-6, 1-0 in SEC play. It game's today, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the SEC Network. Kentucky's 11.5-point favorites. The over/under is 136 for this game. Kentucky's coming off of a good comeback win against Mississippi State. We were obviously losing for the majority of the game. Calipari got ejected, got 2 technicals, got ejected. Added some energy to the team. We put in Deontay Allen, had 23 points, amazing 3-point shot. Kentucky looked good. I give Kentucky another win again today. I think it's going to be a relatively close game, but I give Kentucky the win back at Rupp Arena, second game of 2021, second game of SEC play. I feel like if we make the right decision on the starting lineup, I feel like this could be a team that's getting on a roll. I give Kentucky the win. As for the NBA, we got the Lakers, Grizzlies. I give Lakers the win. Nuggets, Timberwolves, give Nuggets the win. Clippers, Spurs, give Clippers the win. And Bulls, Trailblazers, give Trailblazers the win. And as for the Nets game, Jazz come in this game 4-2. Nets come in this game 3-4. Jazz are 5-point favorites. Over/under is 266.5. This game's today at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Yes Network. I'll give the Nets the win. I mean, I don't. It's tough to say, to be honest, because I don't know if the Nets really are gonna win. I mean, it's just so hard because without KD, this team could be different. And I mean, at least Kyrie's playing. That's what I could say. But that's another thing too. They got 2 stars. The Nets had 2 stars, but KD being out, now we only have 1 star. And I'll tell you what, man, we got to start Jared Allen tonight. We have to, because DeAndre Jordan against Rudy Gobert, that's not going to be a favorable matchup. And Jazz are going to know what to do there. They're going to just dominate that matchup. We got to put in Jared Allen, honestly. So, but the Nets got to find a way to win here. I mean, let me look at their upcoming schedule here. Their upcoming schedule isn't easy. It's not really that easy. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at their upcoming schedule, okay? It's the Jazz, 76ers, Grizzlies, Thunder. That's the schedule without KD. Then you get into some, manageable games. Knicks, they're playing well, but the Knicks, Magic, those are probably 2 winnable games. Bucks are going to be tough. Then you have the Cavs twice. Those are 2 winnable games. So, I don't know if you look at it, I mean, I'm talking, late January now. But if you look at it, to be honest, in a way, their schedule, their schedule coming up is very tough. But then they have a couple of those very winnable games, and then, but I'm just hoping that we can win this game because, we got to find a way here. We got to get rebounds, and we've got to get rebounds. We've got to find a way to dominate the boards. As for college football, actually, no real news on college football other than the game, other than just there no real news on college football other than the Ohio State game. No real news there on college football side of things. Yeah. And then Knicks obviously won yesterday. They won yesterday. They came back. I was watching that game. They came back. And I watched West Virginia game as well. West Virginia came back there. And I was watching the Knicks game as well. So the Knicks won there. Nets play tonight. Kentucky, preview that. Now time for fantasy basketball, which should be good. Currently, I'm losing by 1 point, but hopefully that changes here. So I'm currently losing 347 to 346. 1 point, not overly angry about it. I've got 4 players going tonight. I got Kyrie Irving, Yusuf Nurkic, Anthony Davis, and Jonas Valanciunas. So that's the 4 guys I got going tonight. I feel like I can gain some ground tonight and probably take the lead as long as these players do well. And by the way, I'm fantasy hockey, I'll keep you updated. I mean, I'll share my lineup once we do the draft. I'm still deciding on when I want to do the draft. Obviously, it's got to be the right time, obviously, to do it. You can't just randomly do it. So I'm still thinking on when I want to do it. I would imagine very, very, very soon here, just because, hockey season, a week tomorrow it starts. So obviously, I want to definitely get it done, and have my team, because I like to definitely see, what my team's all about. But it's also scheduling wise too. So I'll obviously share that with you guys once I I'll share that with you guys. Once I complete it, that's what I will do. So yeah. So with all that being said, that will do it for the podcast today. Tomorrow, another good podcast. Obviously, like I said, I've obviously, really enjoy, obviously, the NFL games and stuff. But, with the NFL, kind of in a little bit of a, obviously, you still got the playoff games. With the NFL season winding down, you still got the entire playoffs. But with no Thursday games or Monday games, I've got time throughout the week now. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm talking about variety of stuff. Monday, Friday is mainly football, obviously, because you got your talking about all the games on Monday, and then Friday you got your game picks. So it gives me more time to talk about other things. Like today, I talked about Jets coaching rumors and Yasiel Puig. If there was an, so it gives me more space there. So just keep watching out. Obviously, I'm going to have definitely a variety of sports, so it should be exciting, to have a different variety of sports coming up, so that should be good. So with all that being said, that will do it for the podcast today. I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.